Hello, everyone. Welcome in. My name is Michael, and I'm here for your webinar on mindfulness for sleep today. I hope that people feel comfortable and free to say hi in the chat, say where you're from, get in touch, interact a little. It definitely helps me to feel like I'm not just, sort of speaking into the void. Yes, well, here I'm in Melbourne in lockdown, and we're it looks like we're kind of all in it together this time instead of just a few of us. So nice to see people saying hi. Um, just I guess before we start today, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we each stand, because we're all in different places. I personally pay my respect to the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, the traditional custodians here in Melbourne, their elders, past, present, and emerging. I would also like to extend my respects to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders who are present here today. So welcome everyone. Here we are. We're going to chat for a while. It's so nice to see everybody saying hi in the chat. Look, I'm going to say hi too. Hi. And just keep kind of browsing through. If you have questions as you go, post them up. I'll try to sort of pay attention at least slightly. And that's me. I'm one of the coaches here at Uprise. So, I'm sure depending on where you work, you may have access to some sessions at Uprise. You can always come and reach out and check in with us if you want to take some of this further. And there's a lot of different types of people available to you. All right, so where do we start? Having a practice of some sort, it's kind of, it can feel like a big thing to incorporate these new ideas into your life. And also, I think sometimes we have this idea that, meditating is like this, I have to be this yogi, sattvic kind of person, and it goes with this whole lifestyle, or I have to be able to just sit in a dark room and turn my brain off for an hour. And, that's not really realistic for most of us, especially when we're kind of living these busy lifestyles. I don't even know if it's realistic for anyone to completely quiet their brain. And so when we put that kind of pressure on ourselves, I think that makes it harder for us to connect with the actual idea of doing mindfulness or doing some kind of a meditation. Do you know what I mean? Like, you find yourself kind of going, oh, I'm not good at this. I'm still thinking. I can't quiet my mind. I mean, I'm sure we've all had these thoughts before. So what if we can sort of take the pressure off a little bit? What if we can say, oh, okay, it's normal for me to continue having thoughts in my mind. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow those thoughts to be there, and yet I'm going to, not latch onto them. Because as we try to push them away, in a way, we're actually giving them power. We're interacting with them. So just learning to sort of allow our thoughts to be there and to develop a practice that actually makes sense for us as individuals. It's going to be different for everyone. Some people are going to need to access the physical a little bit more. There's walking meditations, moving meditations. Some people, if they want to sleep better, that means they're going to have to exercise more. If you have a lot of energy, some people it's going to be something physical that's going to help. Some people it's going to be something calming that's going to help. Yeah. Speaking of embodied, maybe if everyone wants to try something, let's just like stretch our arms above our head, have a little stretch, maybe roll the neck, roll the shoulders, and twist from side to side. How does that feel? Yeah, I think that when we connect with the body, we really connect with the present moment, right? Imagine even just by doing this, let's say once an hour, sitting at our desks or something, it's giving us that space to give the nervous system a break for a second. You know, the nervous system is constantly activated. If we're thinking about the past, thinking about the future, what do we have to do? And so in this moment, sort of connecting with our body, we're actually settling in to the present. So that can be something that's important when it comes to having a practice and doing mindfulness, is first connecting with the body, having that moment, maybe having a stretch, maybe if that's what it takes, or doing a body scan, checking in some way. So that's one of the things we're trying to take off this list, maybe, is the embodied, getting into more of a relationship with our bodies. And this kind of thing should be enjoyable. If it feels like you're really forcing yourself to do it, then maybe it's not the right practice. Maybe there are some other options. And, you know, I want to talk about some of the options for getting into this type of thing. There are a lot of apps out there these days. There are a lot of different types of ways of interacting. So we've got the Headspace app. Headspace has got like their own kind of program that you follow. We've got the Calm app. They also have their own program. These are both paid apps, but there's also Insight Timer, which is free. I mean, you can make donations to the different meditators on there, but you don't have to. Of course, if you start using somebody's programs a lot, then that's an option. And then we have Binaural Beats, which is something you can find on YouTube. Binaural Beats is, they have a lot of different frequencies that are meant to make the nervous system react in a different way. So there's some for sleep, there's some for having energy in the morning. It's actually really interesting, and I find it can be really useful. Then we have, you know, we can just do searches on YouTube for different type of meditations, and also on the Uprise app, we have some things that can be accessed. So I don't necessarily feel like mindfulness has to be something that you have to do on your own, you know, that you need to just go sit down in a dark room somewhere and just be quiet. A guided meditation is really helpful, you know, really useful. So arousal. Now, this is, I guess, a big part of how we figure out what our actual needs are when it comes to doing a meditation. So let's say I'm somebody who tends towards stress or like high arousal. And this might not necessarily always be a bad thing. I like to say, you've noticed how I've said action alarm instead of fight and flight, because this is useful, right? Like when the body reacts to something and says, okay, I've got to get in gear, I've got to go. This can be really helpful. And some people actually get, you know, are really into that, you know, that I work better under pressure kind of thing. So, you know, it's just something that we have to be cautious of, making sure that we stay within our window of tolerance and that we don't push the nervous system so far that the body kind of gets to a place that it just really starts to shut down and say, like, get me out of here, which is, you know, this freeze response. So you'll notice that I kind of put freeze right in this line. Freeze is a high arousal response, but what it can create is can bring us into this low arousal kind of depression, lack of motivation space. So for example, if I'm overworked and I'm starting to kind of burn out, then I just try to leave my room in the morning and go to work, and I'm finding myself going like, you know, I just can't do it. So what happens is I end up just pulling the covers over my head and kind of going into this low arousal space, because it's the only thing that I can manage if I've gone a little bit past, you know, a safe place of arousal. Now, on the other side of high arousal, we have excitement, exercise, pleasure, you know, even sexual arousal, like all of these things that kind of get endorphins flowing in the body and use up energy in a really positive way, you know. And this is crucial, right? We want to elevate the heart rate. We want to do our cardio. We want to move energy in the body. And this really helps to bring us to the place where we can go towards sleep. Don't know if anyone has done yoga before. Any yoga people out there? Feel free to say hi. But you know that feeling, I guess, if you've done yoga or you've done a hard workout, and then afterwards it just kind of like feel really calm, right? So, you know, it's the end of the yoga class, you're laying down in your Savasana moment, and in that moment, it's so easy to actually sort of let go, be in the present, and just settle. You know, I think people can probably, you know, remember that experience or even have an idea of what I'm talking about. Even if you haven't done yoga, maybe going for a run or going to the gym, just doing something that kind of really gets the heart going, and then being able to settle in and really just go into that rest and digest space. So, you know, this is an important piece of the puzzle. If we want to be able to get the body to come to this place where it easily accesses the rest and digest, and it easily accesses calm, and it easily accesses sleep. So a part of that process is getting into the positive high arousal, doing our exercise during the day, and then being able to also find the equal opposite, which is the meditation and the stop and smell the roses, and, you know, being to be able to disconnect ourselves from work and all those other things that we kind of think about through the day. Have my plug for my computer on me. So the next, now this part, so before we get a little further into the meditation, I think we have to actually like ask ourselves, you know, what am I doing throughout the day that could potentially contribute to me not having a good sleep at night? So by building that kind of solid structure, then we're at least helping ourselves in that direction. You know, am I drinking caffeine? Am I eating big meals late at night? You know, how does my diet look? Am I not eating enough? Am I overstimulated? You know, talking about watching really stimulating television programs right before bed, being on the phone, just kind of scrolling, you know, the blue light kind of thing. Like we said before, am I exercising during the day? And talking about leaving work behind. So I've actually found recently on Insight Timer, they have this 3-minute end of the day meditation. And, you know, just that moment, even taking those 3 minutes to just signify I'm not at work anymore. Now I'm going on with the rest of my day. Some kind of a little ritual, right? So this is a way that we can bring mindfulness in different parts of the day and just access it for a few minutes. That's really going to help to shift the mode that we're in. You know, it's really hard for all of us that are working from home right now to kind of separate work from life. Does anybody have any kind of input if they want to jump in on the chat for their experience with like how they kind of separate home, you know, work day from the rest of the day? For me, doing that meditation is huge. You know, I've, you know, done something like this, or I've done a bunch of clients, and I'm just kind of wrapping up, and it's really easy for me to just sort of stay on my computer doing notes, filing things, doing invoices, and at some point I need to be like, no, it's the end of the day. And so even taking 3 minutes or 5 minutes to just drop into a meditation, I feel like can really separate that. And then that helps me later on when I'm trying to sleep, that I'm not still thinking about work, because I've really kind of made that clear boundary. Yeah, so, you know, asking yourself these questions: how are my boundaries generally? How much am I taking on? And leaving the house and going for a walk, exactly that kind of thing. I love all these different inputs, having a different space from work and life, and going to play with your son. So yes, neatening up the desk, shutting down the computer. See, coming with these little things that we do, even while we're still sitting at our desk, that moment of going, okay, I'm gonna just put these things over here and I'm gonna put these things over here. Now everything is really clear and clean. Okay, like sitting down with myself, like I said before, having a stretch, connecting with the body. Ah, all right, now I'm ready for the rest of my day, right? And then again, at night, do I have a sleep ritual? The things that tell my body, oh, we're headed towards sleep right now. The nervous system, if it's watching like an action movie on TV and it's all jacked and excited, then it's not being reminded, oh, I'm moving towards sleep. So having those things, okay, do my little sleep meditation, brush my teeth, clean this, move this over, just opening up the bed and having that moment. And these are all things that I spend 20 minutes doing before bed. And this is the slow process of reminding me that I'm moving towards bed. And mindfully doing these things. Mindfulness doesn't only mean that one moment of sitting down for a meditation. It means how present can you be in your daily life and the things that you're doing, right? Like, how possible is it for us to really be here in the moment? We can do it while we're washing the dishes, literally like feeling the warm water on my hands, watching the dirt washing away, just looking out the window in front of the sink, taking in the things that are there, the tree blowing in the breeze, really noticing it, taking the dogs for a walk early in the morning. Are we just going and taking the dogs for a walk, but we're already thinking about jumping into our workday? Or are we actually having enough space to really be there with the dogs, taking a walk, taking in nature? Nature's full of novelty, it really draws us in. So we're working ourselves up. We've talked about building a foundation. We've talked about how we sort of move towards choosing a practice and deciding which practice is right for us, and how we sort of figure out what we need to integrate into our lives. Madeline mentions the ocean. That's huge for sure. So having a tranquil space, making sure that things feel clean and clear around us really helps a lot. But, it's not necessary. It's not to say that, just to do this little 5-minute thing that you have to go and clean everything. It's just helpful as far as moving towards a reality where we can sleep. Accepting the distractions. This is what I talked about before. Okay, so there are so many things that we battle against every day that we don't even realize we're battling against. And one of those things is the thoughts in our mind, like, I'm not supposed to be thinking that. That's the wrong thought. That's not what I want right now. I want to be quiet. And we get into all this inner turmoil. But it's really just adding to the problem. Just allow those thoughts to be there. Okay, the meditation's telling me to bring my attention to my breath, but I keep thinking about the thing I have to do tomorrow. Okay, we're thinking about what we're guiding the attention towards, not what we're trying to move away from. So there's no rejection. Connecting with the observer the part of us that's noticing that we're noticing. And the last question that we really need to ask, when it comes to our mind, when it comes to our natural instincts, do we have control over them, or do they have control over us? And that's it. That's what we're moving towards. We have a mind that can be a tool that's useful to us. So does it have us, or do we have it? All right. So there are a lot of different options for different types of meditations. Today, we'll kind of go through a few I'll try to integrate a few into one meditation so people can sort of see what they connect with, attending to the breath and then attending to the senses and also doing a bit of a body scan. So these are all the types of things that can be searched for on YouTube, on Insight Timer, in different places. So if everybody's up for it, maybe just settling in, again, just connecting with the body, having a little stretch, making sure you're comfortable in your chair. And in this moment, we're just going to use gravity to represent all of those sort of invisible forces that we fight against. How do we, in this moment, let gravity in? Just letting go. The shoulders fall down and back. The legs are heavy. Take a deep breath. And just settle a little deeper into the body. In this moment, we're safe. There's nothing we need to fight against. And the thoughts are still there, just bringing the attention into the body, following the breath, but really paying attention to the breath. Noticing the feeling in the nostrils as it enters the body. Noticing the shoulders rising and falling, focusing on the shoulders. Focusing on the rib cage, the chest, expanding and contracting. And following your attention all the way down the abdomen, focusing on the digestive system. How often do we pay attention to our organs? There's a lot of emotion and a lot of inside the body at any given time. And you're not forcing anything, just attending to the organs, the kidneys, or produce the stress hormone. How do we let our body know that we're safe? Stomach, the heart and the lungs working together, pumping oxygen around the body. Notice the miracle of life taking place in the body this time. Following the intention down the shoulders, into the palms of the hands, and with your eyes closed, really focusing all your attention into your hands. Just really focusing, and imagine that attention pooling there like electricity. Almost imagine that your hands are light bulbs, and your attention is making them glow. So as you focus more and more, they're glowing more, that electricity into your attention. And just allowing it to flow up the wrists, up the forearms, up the shoulders, and the spine, into the scalp. All the little micro muscles in the scalp settling, and the eyes, and the jaw, and the tongue. Just noticing how everything settles when we're paying attention. And allowing yourself to, now that we've focused on all these individual parts, just really allowing your awareness to flood your entire body, reaching the edges of your skin, noticing how much space you take up. The parts of you that are touching the chair, the exposed skin that's touching the air, just really noticing all the space that you take up in this world. And expanding the awareness to spread outside the body, fill up the room that you're in, and just looking back down at yourself. Being able to take in the space, being able to have a different perspective. Just looking down, seeing yourself sitting in the room, all ways of relaxing the mind and also training it to be able to expand. Moving back in the body, tuning into your senses, rubbing the hands together, feeling that warmth that's created. Allowing you to rest back into the lap, noticing how that sensation draws your attention. Listening, taking in the sounds. There's the sound of my voice, but maybe there are some other sounds in your space. Really, truly listening. Sometimes music makes it easier to access this. Any moment we can connect with the present through our senses. Opening the eyes and taking in your space, really taking it in like for the first time. Noticing the abstract qualities, the colors, the textures, what's out the window, what's in front of you. Using the senses to connect with the present moment, we feel more grounded, settled, and ready for the rest of our day. So, I'm going to end the meditation there. It's easy to contact Uprise in a lot of different ways, or you can leave phone if you feel you prefer to chat with someone directly. There are a lot of other coaches like me who exist, and we are always happy to help with anything. If you want to reflect on any of these ideas that I've brought up, or you want to take this further, feel free to book in with me. And our key takeaways here are strengthening what comes naturally to us. Clarify what elements we're missing. That was like with our arousal board, if I'm easily drawn to low arousal, how can I go more towards the exercise and the other things that balance that out? Setting our attention. Be realistic with the goals that you set. Sometimes people join something like this and they say, I'm going to now start to meditate every day. Maybe let's try like setting a goal that says I'm going to meditate twice this week. Make it important, put it in your schedule. If anyone has any questions,